A man who fled Afghanistan as a boy fulfilled his dream of becoming a pilot and then promptly flew to his home country to help evacuate refugees. A New Jersey motel that is known for its hospitality toward people who don't have a home, plus a school bus driver pulling out all the stops, and a phone scammer turned into a lifelong friend. All that and our most heartwarming videos of the week. You're watching The Uplift. Hey there, I'm Tony DeCopel. Welcome to The Uplift, the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes. And we're going to begin with a motel in New Jersey that has gone viral on TikTok. Brian Arya has been working at his dad's motel for years and making TikTok videos during the night shift because it helps the hours pass and the job fun. But the videos have also helped the motel become a safe place for people in need. Caitlin O'Kane has that story.
The Lincoln Tunnel Motel is a small, no-frills motel in New Jersey, near, of course, the Lincoln Tunnel into New York City. The motel has grown quite the following, mainly on TikTok. Not because it's a glamorous destination, but because it's special to people who need a home. Brian Arya, who joined the family business in 2012, spent years working the night shift at his dad's motel. And in 2020, he found a new purpose for the motel other than overnight stays. Extended stays for free to help those in need who don't have a home.
People started, getting quarantined, lockdown started happening. And then we started seeing an influx of unhoused people. They just couldn't afford rent anymore. And so they'd come to our motel, right? And that it snowballed from there.
Brian calls it the Free Room for You program, opening the rooms of the Lincoln Tunnel Motel to anyone who needs a place to stay. Thanks to social media, followers are donating food and money for supplies, and the motel has people showing up not only to stay, but to help. People
will come in and not want to rent a room, but just say, hey, I want to rent this for the next person. And it's incredible.
As it gets colder, that help is even more appreciated.
Last night it was 18 degrees, and just the other day, someone remained anonymous, dropped off care packages that they've made themselves, full of items, and they dropped off like 20 of them, right? Just for me to give to a random person just walking off the street, which I did just last night.
And at the little motel that could help a lot of people, there's no checkout time for those in need.
Well done, Brian. The unlimited late checkout for those in need. Our next story is about school bus drivers. There was a shortage during the pandemic, which reminded us of the importance of that job. But there's one bus driver in Missouri who was already taking that role very seriously, and he's not just showing up for the job. You could say he is showing out for it. KMOV's Steve Harris has more.
Every morning at the Melville School District bus lot, Kevin Hughes boards bus 229, dressed for success.
Morning, everybody.
Kevin was once where these kids are now, literally. See, he graduated from Melville.
I was a troublemaker on the bus.
Well, that was then. Nowadays, he's a smile maker. Driving in Dapper Duds.
These are trying times, and just putting a little fun in the work place. If I made you laugh, I've done my job.
His work wardrobe does just that. Kevin's been at this for 5 years.
It's a very rewarding job.
A job that recently rewarded Kevin.
All right, kindergartners.
He was named Transportation Department's Employee of the Year.
He makes it a lot of fun, especially around the holidays. He also has a bunny suit for Easter and then Santa and stuff like that. But he does make it fun for students on the bus.
They love it, yeah. It all depends on the outfit. Sometimes they don't understand them, but a lot of times they do.
Take, for instance, today's getup. No matter how the kids interpret it, Kevin's costumes put a smile on their faces. Someone once said people rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they're doing.
All right, kids, have a good day, all right?
If that's the case, you could call Kevin Hughes a success story.
I'll see you this afternoon.
All that, plus he gets you to school on time. To our next story, many people spent months apart from their families during the pandemic, and some grandparents couldn't even meet their new grandkids. So imagine the surprise of one grandma in Utah who was cooking dinner when she saw a guest from Hawaii, her new grandson, Indy, about 6 months after he was born. She could not believe her eyes. Take a look. It's a beautiful scene there. Oh, hugging the camera. Hugging right back at you, Grandma. Next up, a group of kids in Harlem gets a taste of healthy cooking on a basketball court. Michael George has the story.
This basketball court in Harlem is a makeshift kitchen for a group of young chefs in the making. 10-year-old Messiah Franklin Johnson is learning how to grow and cook veggies, thanks to the nonprofit Harlem Grown. Messiah, are you getting pretty good at cooking?
I am.
Make sure you're stirring everything. Yep. Or else it's gonna burn.
I don't want it to burn.
They're using fresh, local produce, not easy to find in many communities. What are the options for families in this neighborhood to eat?
Few and far between. It's usually fast, cheap, empty calories, and unhealthy.
I got it, babe.
Harlem Grown's founder, Tony Hillary, says food deserts, where the nutritious options are scarce, lead to a lifetime of health problems.
It is hot, y'all. So
You see this in every poor community in this country. It's not black, white, and brown, but it is poor.
But here, kids get their first taste of their own healthy cooking. It smells really good.
Thank you. Delicious.
Do you think it's important for kids to eat healthy?
Yes, because if you eat healthy, and then you're going to keep on inspiring more people to be healthy, and soon enough the whole world's just going to be healthy.
Going home with a full stomach and a little food for thought.
Did look pretty good, and if you get those knife skills down, it can be quick too. Nice story there. Coming up, a full circle moment. A pilot who helped more than 1,000 Afghan refugees on their journey to the U.S. decades after he had to flee the same country. Plus, a scam call that did not result in a hang-up. It turned instead into a mentorship. You're watching The Uplift. When most of us get calls from scammers, we get frustrated and then we get off the phone. But one man decided instead to engage with the caller, and the result was an improbable friendship. CBS Morning's lead national correspondent David Begnaud has that story.
Now, look, we all get spam calls, but most people hang them up.
That's right.
So why did you hang it up?
Something in that young man's voice. I felt like I could hear him through the phone that he was a broken person.
It moved your heart.
It moved my heart.
Stephen Ira Adams owns an insurance agency in central Louisiana.
You coming by?
He answers that phone constantly. Anonymous calls, no problem. It's just a part of the business. In 2016, though, he got a call that unexpectedly moved him. What he heard on the other end of the line was a pain, and it was a pain he knew all too well. We'll get back to that in a moment. But the man on the other end of the line was at a call center in Ghana, Africa, and he was asking Adams to purchase a gift card.
I said to him, what you're doing right now is a scam. You are targeting elderly Americans, and it's not right. And I said, when you get off, call me.
So when he called you back, did he continue to ask you for money?
He did not ever ask me for any money ever again.
Huh.
Nope, he did not. He asked me for mosquito nets, malaria drugs, educational things.
The man asking for that was Prince Anderson. He's from a small village in Ghana. As the oldest son in the family, when his father died, he took on the duty of caring for his sick mother and for supporting his younger brother through school. It has now been 5 years since they first spoke, and Anderson and Adams are still in touch over FaceTime.
The kind of love he showed me, you know, the things he sent me, you know, the money and the care of love, you know, my mom and everything, the love he showed me, it's overwhelming.
Prince Anderson is now 25. Stephen Ira Adams is 41, and he's a dad to 2 boys. He told us he also sees himself as a father figure to Prince.
I told him to quit that call center, and he never went back because he found out what it was about. Some of the people working there, I found out, don't even know what's going on. His next job after he quit that call center, he was washing windows at the airport.
As of today, Prince Anderson is now working for a private security company in the capital of Ghana. And in a twist of fate, his brother Isaac Anderson got a scholarship to Howard University in Washington, D.C., where he recently started his freshman year. And when the dorms closed for winter break, Adams invited Isaac to spend Christmas with him and the family in Alexandria, Louisiana.
How do you refer to Isaac?
Isaac, sometimes I say son.
No, I say my dad.
Yeah.
You call him your dad?
Yeah, I see him to be my father because the kind of things he's doing for me, care and all that. He's a top man, like really top.
Top man.
Yeah.
They may look like an unlikely family, but Adams said that he learned early on as a boy about the enduring power of kindness coming from strangers.
From where I came from in life to where I'm at now is a journey as well.
Tell me about where you came from.
I was born to very young parents.
He revealed to us details about a tumultuous childhood that he says included abuse, abandonment, and poverty.
We're not going to make it by ourselves in this world, you know, especially at that young of an age. There was a restaurant beside us, and when they were closing, dumping the stuff out, I went over there and I was like, I'll take them potato logs. The people at the restaurant found out that we were there by ourselves. You know, nobody called the authorities. We had a neighbor, an older lady that was our neighbor. She'd kind of check in on us. So I learned how to survive there.
Hey.
He wound up in foster care for a brief period, and then was raised by his grandmother and his grandfather, who was a U.S. Air Force veteran. And he says his grandfather instilled in him a profound love of country. And he says that's what led him to serve his country himself.
You've experienced abandonment, abuse, poverty, food deprivation.
Yes, I have. Yep. But I had the opportunity to pull myself out of it in the United States of America, though.
And you said you've always been a caretaker.
Yes.
Because you had to take care of yourself.
Take care of myself.
For so long.
Yeah, and then my younger siblings as well.
So that's where this goodness comes from. It comes from pain.
It comes from pain, that's right.
It comes from pain.
It did come from pain. Yeah, absolutely right.
You've been searching all your life because you've been looking for consistency. You've been looking for stability.
Stability.
You have been looking for stability.
Absolutely, yep. I think about when I was younger, the different random people that helped me. Everything from neighbors to people I met on my bicycle, to the janitors at my high school, to the lunchroom lady giving me some extra food to bring home with me.
Because you had to rely on everybody.
Yeah, I did. And I wanted to be reliable to them too.
Oh, he is reliable and ready to answer a call, no matter who's calling or where it's coming from.
You never know who you're going to be able to help out there. If you're just open to it, we are our brother's keepers. It's our responsibility to make sure, you know, our neighbors taken care of, our children, our family. And if we all do that for each other, then we're going to be fine. I think what the world is missing is love.
And as the gentleman said there, nobody makes it on their own. Nice piece, David Begnaud. When we come back, our most heartwarming videos of the week. Plus, a pilot once forced to flee Afghanistan got to help more than 1,000 Afghan refugees. Welcome back to The Uplift. So glad you didn't go far because we have our most heartwarming videos of the week now, starting with this. A sweet surprise for a 16-year-old girl. Julia Mitchell, battling bone cancer, was worried that because she couldn't go to work and make money, she would not be able to get herself a car when she turned 16. But on her birthday, Julia got a very big surprise, a car parade that ended with a brand new car just for her. Members of her community in Chandler, Arizona, paid for Julia's car. And Julia says she is set to end treatment in April. And the very first thing she's going to do is get her license. We're cheering you on, Julia. All right, take a look at this next video. At first, it may appear to be a regular old pack of dogs running on the beach, but all of these dogs have one particular thing in common. Actually, a couple things. First of all, they are all from SFT Animal Sanctuary in Morocco, and the owner of that sanctuary told us here at The Uplift that she sold her house and her business to start this sanctuary. They now have 600 animals, plus, look closely, 20 of what she calls her wheelie babies. Next up, Katie Prentice was on what she thought was a mother-daughter trip to New York City. When she was posing for a photo, she turned around and saw her husband was there just out of the blue. He surprised them on their trip to make up for something. Take a look.
You didn't get a romantic proposal the first time around. So I thought I'd try again by flying to Central Park and surprising you. Are you surprised?
Getting goosebumps. After 25 years of marriage, he re-proposed to Katie because he said he never got a chance to give her the big romantic proposal she deserved. And there's no time like the present, also no present like time. Coming up, a pilot who took 3 life-changing flights to Afghanistan, the country he fled as a boy. You're going to want to stick around. When United Airlines joined the efforts to evacuate Afghan refugees, there was one pilot in particular who just knew he had to join in. Zach Kogiani had fled Afghanistan himself as a child nearly 4 decades ago. And last year, he ended up helping more than 1,000 Afghans on their journey to America. Caitlin O'Kane has their story.
Zach Kogiani has wanted to be a pilot since he was a boy. His grandfather was one of the first pilots in Afghanistan, and growing up, Zach loved watching airplanes. Zach and his family fled Afghanistan in the 70s. His father was a politician and a target of the Soviets during their invasion. His family faced many obstacles in trying to flee the country.
They allowed us to get on the flight and we flew to Tehran. And when we got to Tehran, my father met us there. And that's the first time my brother and I found out that we'd never be able to go back.
Zach and his family eventually made their way to the US, where he fulfilled his dream of becoming a pilot. He's flown for 27 years, many of them with United.
Reuniting families, reuniting couples, bringing meetings together. I mean, it truly makes the world a much smaller place.
He recently got to be a part of life-changing flights when Afghanistan fell to the Taliban.
We all watched the news as the situation in Afghanistan was unraveling, and I had heard that, the Department of Defense might trigger the craft flying. I knew I had to do something. I was in a very unique position where I thought maybe I could make a difference, whether big or small, and I couldn't simply just sit on the couch and watch it happen without doing something to help the situation.
Zach made 3 round-trip flights from Afghanistan to the US. Some of them he spent in the cabin, translating for families who were fleeing their homes, just like he did decades before.
For many, many of them, this was their first time on a passenger aircraft, so there was a lot of unfamiliarity, there was a language barrier, not to mention the emotional aspects that they were experiencing.
He ended up helping more than 1,000 Afghan refugees on their journey to the US.
Individuals came up to me, first of all, they were, maybe amused that, somebody in a pilot uniform spoke their language and was from Afghanistan, but a lot of them approached me throughout the flight. And, the overwhelming thing that they conveyed was that, one, that they were very proud of me, which was very humbling. And also that, I gave them a lot of hope to see that, somebody had left under similar circumstances and had, overcome whatever obstacles was along the way and that, succeeded in life.
Zach said he was glad he could be there to comfort others who had nothing but the clothing on their backs.
It became very evident that they needed everything. But 8,000 volunteers, came together within the airline. By the second flight, we had pacifiers on board, baby bottles, formula, diapers. By the third flight, we had nurses on board. We had paramedics on board to meet all their needs. Not only that, but the individual crew members, they brought bags of candy with them, toys with them, to walk to the aft galley to just check to see how things are going and to see 5 little girls sitting on the galley floor and flight attendants braiding their hair, is a moment I will never forget.
Zach and United there making a real difference. That is our show. I hope it brightened your day and lifted you up. If it didn't, watch 2 more. Don't call me in the morning. We'll see you next time.